So Hunt Showdown has finally left early access. If you are new, there is a lot to learn. If you are coming back after a break, a lot has probably changed. In this video, we are going to look at the top 15 things that you need to know to succeed in the swamps. So in no particular order, let's get stuck in. Number 1. Bring a knife to a gunfight. Well, to be honest, these days dusters work pretty fine as well. Basically, you will need a melee weapon. They are extremely useful for clearing basic AI enemies and can help get a last hit when you expend your clip in close fights against hunters. The knife and dusters are both great, just remember that knives are not recommended against immolators. You can bring a melee attachment on a weapon or a dedicated melee weapon like the machete, but remember if you loot weapons off another team, you may still want to carry a knife with you in reserve to kill grunts quickly and quietly. Always bring something, because otherwise you are putting yourself at a significant disadvantage right from the start. Number 2 is to balance speed and stealth. Yes, you do want to reduce the amount of information enemies have about you by being quiet, but the biggest mistake that I see most players make when they first start is to go too slow. Creeping around whilst crouched makes you a very easy headshot target, and often moving around a lot makes you harder to track than simply being quiet. It is critical to balance that speed and stealth though. Move as fast as you can when going from compound to compound, and only crouch when absolutely necessary to avoid sound traps like crows or horses. And never crouch around through the open, otherwise you're just asking for that headshot. For number 3, you need to understand how clues work. I did make a full video on how to track hunters around the map using clues that you can look at, and it's still mostly up to date. But here are the basics. Clues blank out your map to show you where the boss monster is not. All compounds have at least one clue, some have 2. Healing Waters Church, Port Rica, and Blanchett Graves always have 2 on the Stillwater Bayou map, whilst Lawson Station, the prison, and the fort always have 2 clues on the Lawson Delta map. If a clue looks like this, it is sealed. No other player has been there before you. If it looks like this, it's open. A player has already been at this clue and taken it. Of course, once you take it, it's going to look like this anyway. You can also still use this clue as normal, but now you know that there are players ahead of you. If the clue looks like this and it makes loud noises, then there are players in the immediate area. Once the area of your map where a clue is blanks out, the clue will no longer glow red for you. This means that there could still be players around that have not got the clue yet, and the noise and the red glow might appear and alert them, but not you, if you have already picked up that particular clue. The purpose of this is so that you can't just camp a clue if you are close to it, because the clue itself will alert other players that you are nearby. By the same token, if the clue is red, go to full alert mode and prepare to fight for your life. Finally, see that way that the map blanks out when you pick up a clue? Well, it blanks out in the same shape for all players, so you can use this to predict where they may go next. Number 4. Burning bodies prevents them from being revived. When you catch on fire, instead of damaging you as normal, fire will slowly reduce your total health. If this fully consumes one of your health chunks, that chunk will fully disappear. It cannot be healed or regenerated. Funny thing is, this continues when you are downed. Of course, if you have all of your health burned away, then you are fully dead, with no chance of a revive. So if you go down and someone throws a lantern or sets you on fire, then you have mere seconds for your partner to try and revive you before you are gone forever. At the moment, burning is the only way to remove a downed hunter from a match without killing their partner. All the partner has to do is walk up and start the revive animation, and it will put out the fire on your body, temporarily saving you. Number 5. You also need to know a little bit about how the game's matchmaking works. You see, there are 2 matchmaking brackets in Hunt Showdown. Up until rank 10, you will be in the beginner pool, and only match with people within this pool. After rank 10, you're in the big kid pool, and you can match with just about anyone. The game does use an elo system based on who you have killed and who has killed you to try and find you players of similar skill to play with and against. This works best in regions with larger population counts. Remember that things like prestige and rank do not equate to elo or skill, which is what you will be matched by. The other thing is that the only true solo mode is quick play. In Bounty Hunt, solos, duos, and trios will all be lumped into the same games, in any combination of up to 12 total hunters. If you are playing solo or in a duo, then you can tick a box to opt out of matching with trios, and then you'll only find matches against solos or other duos. Remember that Hunt is also a permadeath game, so if your team is wiped out in a match or you get all of your health bars burned away, then you will die. Then that hunter, along with all of their weapons and equipment, will be gone, and you will have to recruit and equip another hunter from your roster. Up until rank 15, the game is forgiving, and it won't kill off your hunters like this, but after rank 15, they will die forever. Number 6. Learn how to deal with the AI. The only thing in Hunt that should kill you under normal circumstances are other hunters. The AI, including the bosses, are simple to deal with if you know their mechanics. Again, I have dedicated a full video to this, and if you do struggle with AI, definitely check it out. If you are scared of hives and dogs, learn their weaknesses, because otherwise taking down hunters is going to be extremely difficult. Number 7, speaking of hives, this is probably what I see most new players die into. Luckily, there are a few ways you can deal with their swarms of bugs. Other than running away, if you kill the hive, the swarm of bugs will instantly disappear, and now you can even beat the swarm with melee attacks to make it dissipate. But killing the hive, even if you have to shoot, is probably the best way to go. There's nothing worse than being poisoned when a gunfight breaks out. And those bugs can certainly chase you a long way. Number 8 is that walls will not save you. Bullets can go through plenty of cover pretty easily in Hunt. The larger the round, the more cover it will be able to penetrate. If someone is shooting you hiding behind a thin wooden wall or fence, it will offer next to no protection. And even thin metal will be pierced by long ammo. Keep this in mind and look for stone, brick, or thick trees to protect you from fire. Number 9, never skimp on the meds. I enter every hunt with a vitality shot and a first aid kit, and prioritize doctor when selecting traits. Always equip healing gear if you can afford it, because it is critical you're able to regain health during fights, especially with trios where the fights can go longer and become a contest of attrition. Thing to know number 10 is learn the spawns. Each map has separate spawn points as shown on the screen. The game will try and spread out spawns so that there is at least one empty spawn between each team. But with 12 players in a game, this is not always possible, especially in quick play where everyone spawns in as a solo. In Bounty Hunt, it is quite unlikely someone will spawn next to you, but it is still possible. Just be aware of these spawn positions and where each spawn might likely travel for their first clue, so you can be prepared when approaching a compound. For instance, if I spawn north of Salter's Pork, there might be someone spawning here as well, so I shouldn't be relaxed at that first clue. Number 11. Aim for the head. You need to know a little bit about how damage works in Hunt. Most projectiles have a base damage, and when you hit a target, 3 modifiers are applied to see how much the damage actually is. Damage will be reduced the further away a target is. Each body part has a modifier, so chest shots do more than leg shots or gut shots, for instance, and if the projectile had to penetrate cover to hit the target, it will also have its damage reduced. So hit location, range, and cover are all taken into account when calculating damage. Now each weapon is impacted differently by each of these modifiers, with the sparks retaining high damage even at long range, but something like the Winfield will quickly lose damage over range. This means you can be hitting 4, 5, or even 6 hit markers with some guns, and become very frustrated that your opponent just doesn't die. It probably means you're too far away, or hitting limbs for very low damage. This is why you should focus on headshots in Hunt. These will instantly kill hunters as long as you are within the effective range of the weapon, as listed in the store menu descriptions for that weapon. Even if you were just outside of this distance, headshots will deal very high damage, it just won't quite be lethal in one shot. Number 12, you are not as quiet as you think. New players quickly realize that making a lot of noise attracts attention, and hunters start chasing them down for the kill, so they tend to try and be sneaky, learn to avoid shooting or triggering birds or horses. But often they underestimate how loud things like crouching or meleeing are. If you hit a grunt with a melee attack, this can still be heard from the other side of the same compound, and if anyone is in close proximity to the noise of someone crouch walking on wood, it's very obvious. The message here is to be aware that everything makes noise, from aiming in to using dark sight, and attacking AI is the primary way that you will be discovered, and to be on high alert when making any kind of localized area noise. Number 13, you should go for the bounty. If you are new to the game, it may be tempting to play very conservatively. Farm some AI around the edges of the map for your book of weapons, and then extract without really playing the objective. This would be a mistake. The only way you are going to improve is to seek out the objective, because that's where the other players and the fighting will almost always be found. Don't be afraid of gunfights, go looking for them. Move towards noises made by other players and try to initiate those fights. This is the fastest route to improvement. You don't get much better when you slink around for 40 minutes and only take 3 shots in that time. Number 14. Extractions make noise when other teams are nearby. If you see yourself near an extract and the horses are making a huge amount of neighing, or the boat is chewing away, then there is an enemy team in close proximity. If you are within the radius of extraction where the timer is counting down, and another enemy team also enters the radius, the extraction timer will pause and you will be blocked from leaving until you deal with the threat. And finally, the 15th thing you need to know is probably the most important tip of all, so thanks for sticking around. It's to go and find the Hunt Showdown official Discord server. I'll link it in the description below and it will keep you up to date with all of the official announcements, such as when they're shutting down the servers temporarily so you can save your hunter, and it will allow you to ask questions of more experienced players. And most importantly, to look for other players to team up with. Going in with a pre-made team from Discord is always recommended over the random matchmaking system. It allows you to play with 3 people instead of just 2, and you can communicate over Discord rather than the proximity chat in-game that all nearby enemies can hear. Hopefully this information will be of value to you. Feel free to like this video or share it, and consider subscribing to see more from 4FS Gaming, or visit our Discord server or Patreon page to further get involved with the 4FS community. Thank you so much for watching.